This reading is for somebody who is recently going through some sort of awakening, and what I'm receiving is that there's something that you've been working on for a very long time, or like waiting for something to happen. This card just fell out, King of Wands. So you've been waiting for something to happen. This is a collective of people that are waiting for their big moment. And I don't mean that in the sense of like fame, but I mean that in the sense of like there's something you've been working on, manifesting or like praying for, and you've been waiting for that big moment where it comes forth, right? Where you're like, okay, this is what I prayed for, this is what I manifested, this is what I did the work for, right? And you haven't had that moment yet. And while I was sitting down to film this reading, I heard this song in my head. I actually don't even know like the words other than like the one part that I was hearing, and it's like I'm not giving up, no. How does it go? I'm not giving up, giving up, no, not yet. Even if I'm down to my last breath, right? I think, and then it goes like, even if it feels like there's nothing left, right? So it's like you're being brought down to this like I don't even want to say like a low point, because it's like, I think you've done so much healing that it's like, I think you are doing well. Like, I think you are where you want to be mentally and emotionally. You just haven't had the external catch up to where you are just yet, right? And I think there's frustration with that. But with the King of Wands here, this is the energy that I'm receiving is coming in. Okay, I just got very warm. It's very warm, which is very strange because it's summer here. We got the AC running, but it was almost like the heat just turned on, which is impossible because the heat is off for summer. And so this is an energy that you're receiving. It is not coming from within you, it's coming outside of you. And this might come in the form of a person, but the King of Wands can also represent action. Like, how I'm interpreting this is that the universe is now stepping into King of Wands energy, which is action, but it's also quick manifestations, right? Wands are very quick because things combust almost instantly with fire. You know, if you light something on fire, it transmutes pretty much instantly from one state to another, from solid to gas, right? Like, it evaporates into smoke and vapors, right? So that's instant transmutation. So you're now stepping into an era of instant transmutation, okay? That's where you can say, you can actively look at the things that you don't want and instantly transmute them, and the universe is now stepping up to meet you at this level. And the reason that you weren't seeing, oh, interesting. I don't usually do this, this usually doesn't happen, but every time I go to shuffle the cards, one card pops out, so this is interesting. I also think that's relevant to the reading because it's like, usually how I read is with jumpers. And so it's like, you're not getting direct answers right now. You're getting little tidbits, little like things that fall out here and there along the way, right? And it's up to you now to put the full picture together. So we're getting a little bit jumbled here, like jumbled energies. What I want to say, like, very clearly, this is your reading if you are somebody who has been working on manifesting this image of their lives that they have in their head. Like, you have this image of where you want to go and what you want to be, and you have done the work, and the universe, God, whatever, like the physical plane, the 3D has not caught up to you yet. Okay? This is your reading if that is something that you resonate with. And like I said, you are now stepping into an era of your life where the universe or God or whatever you believe in, like when I say the universe, I typically am referring to the 3D, like this earthly plane, right? The universe is now catching up to meet that. The universe is now becoming your manifesting partner, you know? And again, I mean the 3D when I say that. So regardless of religious affiliations, like, we all still exist, right? Like on this earthly plane. So I'm using the universe as this earthly plane right now. I'll say the 3D, I guess. The 3D is becoming your manifesting partner right now. So you're going to be entering a period of your life where it's almost like magic, where it's like you say something and like something will happen. I experienced this in my own life, and I'm actually experiencing this so heavily right now in my own life, where somebody will say something to me and it will manifest. So what happened was my grandfather came over and he's just casually mentioned to me, and my family, he was like, I think he's like my second, not my second cousin, but he's like my mom's cousin, was just diagnosed with Crohn's disease, okay? And this is a tangent, but this is like an example of this manifestation, right? And I've had absolutely horrible chronic illness my entire life with absolutely no solution. Not even a week later, my mom gets diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Now I have to go in and get diagnosed with Crohn's disease, or like tested for it, right? And that doesn't sound good, but for me, that is like a manifestation, because I already had all these symptoms, right? And now it's like, wait, I might have a solution. You know what I mean? Wait, I might have a solution where previously I thought there was none, right? And so this is now dissolving a blockage for me to move forward, right? Because it's like those physical symptoms were holding me back from living the life that I wanted to live, right? So that's a blockage dissolve. You're seeing blockages dissolve in real time, right? So these things that once previously felt insurmountable or like impossible to pass through, like I'm getting an image of like a mountain that it's like, instead of like you felt you had to go around the mountain, but really there was a passage right through it that was going to take you to where you wanted to go much quicker, right? And it's like that's being revealed to you now. The quick path is now being revealed to you. Where previously things felt blocked and closed off, you're now realizing just how like easy it can be. And when I say easy, it's like you might not feel that now, because these things are going to be coming in. Like I said, they're going to be little tidbits, little breadcrumbs of like weird things that people say to you, and then suddenly that's relevant in your life. Like a week, a week later, a couple of days later, where you're like, whoa, that person just said that to me, and now this is actually relevant. Those are signs. Those are synchronicities, right? It's how the universe communicates with us. That's how God communicates with us. Whatever you believe in, it's all the same force, whatever label you apply to it, right? And then we have the Three of Swords here. So this came out because this is relevant. Again, I feel like this is clarifying that energy that I kind of just went off on, of like whatever blockages you felt there within your heart space are now being healed, right? The Three of Swords can sometimes mean pain, but the way that I learned it, because the deck that I first learned it with represented it as healing from pain. Because the Three of Swords, it's like you've already been stabbed in the heart, right? And so where do we come back from that? How do we come back from that? Because the Swords is mental, right? So it's changing your mindset. And the Three of Swords with the heart space there is it's really balancing that mental energy with the heart space, right? So it's like you might have done the mental healing and like the processing of any like wounds that you were holding that might have been blocking manifestations. And you're like, I've done the work, right? I've done it. And now your heart space is now catching up, in the sense that it's like you're finally ready to welcome something in. There's this energy here of like you're finally accepting the fact that things could be good for you, you know what I mean? And because of that, because of you finally stepping into that energy, you're now like, because what I'm trying to say is, because you've now stepped into that energy, you're now waiting for the 3D to catch up, right? You're like, I realize how much I actually deserve, right? You realize that now, but the 3D hasn't caught up, so you're kind of in this state of like, I deserve so much. And I don't mean this in like an egotistical way, but in like a love of the self, right? The love of this earthly vessel that deserves to be cared for, right? Deserves to have love, deserves to have the career, deserves to have the money, the abundance, the home life, the home, right? The friends, the family that it wants. Everybody deserves that, right? Every earthly body deserves, well, maybe not everyone, but most of us, right? Most of us are good people. But like, you have now acknowledged that in your brain, and now the 3D has to catch up, and this is creating that, I don't want to call it impatience, because I think you are, like, I think you've healed so much that like patience isn't like a concept to you anymore. You know what I mean? Where you're like, you realize like time is irrelevant, everything's irrelevant, but that doesn't stop the heart from longing, right? That doesn't stop the heart space from desiring these things. You're now in this state of logically being able to accept things. Like, you've cleared the mental blockages of accepting abundance, right? Because we all have those, you know, we all do, you know. I'm not one of those people that believes in like limiting beliefs of manifestation, and like, oh, just be positive. Like, that's just not, like, we do have blockages. We go through this earth with people actively trying to stop us from manifesting because people don't want what's best for us, you know. Like obviously not everyone. Like, obviously there's some people who do want us to have a good life, right? But on like a grand societal scale, people don't want people to have a good time, you know, because, you know, where would the workers be? Where would the, right? And not everybody breaks out of that space, right? But you have, right? And so you're now in this space where you've done the mental work, okay? You've done the acceptance part where you're like, wait, I actually realize how much I deserve. Wait, I actually realize what I want too, you know, because that's a big one, where it's like realizing what you actually want out of life and like making a strategic plan to get there, right? So you've done that, but your heart isn't fulfilled yet. Your heart isn't seeing it in the 3D, and it's hurting you because you know that it's coming, right? And like, that's the thing, like, they say that our heart longs for what we already have in the future, right? And that is, I think, what's going on here, is that your body knows what's meant for you, right? And you're just not seeing that. And so your mind and your body and your heart are creating this sort of like cognitive dissonance within your brain, where it's like, I believe one thing, but I'm not seeing it, right? So let's get more cards regarding that. I want to pull from my Pocket Archetypes deck. I also just want to, oh my Jesus. I also just want to say, if you are enjoying this reading, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. We are not done yet, but I just like to throw that in there before people leave at the end. My goal is to hit 500 subscribers. I don't know when. So if you would like to help me with my manifestation, I thank you so much for that. All right, let's get you a card. This card is going to be to represent the archetype that is going to be important to you as we move through this transition phase. So this is the archetype that you need to step into in this transition phase in order to make this transition go more smoothly, right? And when I say transition, I mean transitioning from your old life into this new one, right? So you're in this period of time right now where you haven't quite left the old one completely, the old life completely, and you haven't quite entered the new one completely, and you're still getting like energies from both sides, right? You're getting a little bit of a taste of the future and a little bit of remnants from the past, right? So this is the archetype that you need to embody that's really going to help you make this transition as smooth as it can be, right? I love this deck so much. The Gem. Okay, let's read this from the book. Okay, I was just hearing the song The One by Taylor Swift, and I'm hearing the specific part that goes, I'm doing good, I'm on some new shit, been saying yes instead of no. I thought I saw you at the bus stop, I didn't though, right? And I'm just bringing that up because, one, I'm doing good, I'm on some new shit, been saying yes instead of no, right? That's really great. But also, that's like the energy, right, of like being in the new, right? I'm doing good, I'm on some new shit, been saying yes instead of no, but also the remnants of the past. I thought I saw you at the bus stop, I didn't though, right? And so it's releasing that, right? She thinks that she saw him at the bus stop, she didn't, and that's okay because she's moved on. It was more so of just like a, oh, is that person? Oh no, it's not. Okay, whatever, you know? It's not holding on to that, right? So that just might be like relevant for somebody, like if you are moving on from a person. Some of you might benefit from listening to that song. Okay, we have the Gem card here. There are infinite names for the gem. It is also known as the jewel, the star, the talent, the gift, the gold. One thing for certain is that it is found deep within a substance that is very much unlike it, okay? For example, a diamond in the rough. The gem always stands in contrast to its surroundings. Okay, so this is you. You are the gem, right? And so again, that's kind of that transitionary phase of like being the diamond in the rough, where it's like you're leaving that old life and stepping into this new life, right? You can't find it when you are among comforts and pleasantries. Precious stones develop slowly deep in the earth, and amid pressure and darkness. Discovering the gem requires a descent beneath the surface, where there is no definitive map. Yet the longing to touch the true gem within us is so strong that we cannot help but seek out its radiance. Your gem, like your destiny, is unlike any other in the entire world. Keep digging. That is like so special. Like, that's just such a special message for this collective. The moments of your life that glimmer are clues to where the gem resides. Again, clues, breadcrumbs. You really need to be paying attention to any synchronicities that you see right now in the 3D. Like literally minor things. Like, I have an easier time picking up on synchronicities just because of the work that I've done, and also just because like I do tarot and stuff, right? And so it's like the key to like, I'm just going to share how I identify synchronicities. The key to identifying synchronicities and like identifying them and differentiating them from just regular conversations or regular, coincidences is the feeling that it gives you. Like, for example, like I said, when I know this is such a weird example, like talking about Crohn's disease and like manifesting illness, but like I said, I was already sick. I've been sick my whole life, and to finally have an answer is great. But like, when my grandpa said that, something in me just clicked. I was like, oh my god, wait, right? So notice for things that give you that feeling. Notice for things that make you stop and go, this feels slightly relevant, right? Don't covet the sparkling diamond of another. The gem is like a fingerprint, never to be repeated again. Find yours. This is very interesting. So for a lot of this collective, you're going to be going about things differently. I'm literally like seeing the Addams family in my head. And the thing about the Addams family is everyone thinks they're weird, but they're actually such a healthy family. And that's why everyone thinks they're so weird, right? Like, obviously because they're like goth and stuff, but also like, at least like not in the new Wednesday, but like in the traditional Addams family, like they are such a healthy family, and like they uplift their children so much, and everyone thinks they're weird. Like, they're like, they have a weird family dynamic, not realizing that they're actually such a healthy family, right? And so that is the energy that I'm getting for you. Is like, people might think you're weird for going off and doing things, or like finding a relationship that's like unconventional, but really it's only unconventional. Like, just because it's unconventional doesn't mean it's not healthy. You know what I mean? Like, I mean that in the sense of like society normalizes unhealthy things a lot of the time, right? So it's like, if you're taking a step back and like focusing on yourself, that might be like unconventional, but does that make it wrong? No. It's actually much healthier. Just because the rest of society doesn't really do that very often doesn't mean that you're weird or wrong, right? So some of you might be doing that, and I think, like I said, like, I'm also getting like unconventional relationships as well. And when I say that, like, again, like, I think people kind of like tend to think of like like, I don't know, like, I don't know, I'm just gonna leave that at that. Like, I think people that know will know like what I'm talking about. The energy that I'm feeling here. And then it says here, in mythology, the diamond is often linked to the daemon, or inner light. That leads us towards our true self or purpose or our destiny. Yeah, so that's a card of destiny, but it's also a card of being in in-betweens, right? Like, a diamond doesn't become a diamond until it's taken out of the dirt that it lives in, polished up, cut, shined up, right? So it's like, you're in that transition, right? You are the diamond that is going through this alchemical process to become the best version of itself, right? You are becoming the highest version of yourself right now. And that's really powerful. Like, I've literally only pulled 3 cards here, and it's like, the story that is being told is one of major transmutation. It's raining. We got a thunderstorm here right now. It's very cozy today. Okay, I'm actually gonna leave that there. I was gonna pull one more card, but I think we need to leave that there. I just don't think there's anything more that I can say other than get ready. And yeah, like, one last thing that I do want to say is, like I said, looking into that like diamond in the rough analogy, is like, as you're going through this, allow yourself to transform on more than an intellectual level. okay? Allow yourself to transform through the way that you look. Allow yourself to feel new feelings towards people. Like, change your feelings towards people. Allow yourself to change things more than just your mental space, if that makes sense. Like I said, allow yourself to experiment with new looks if that calls to you. If that is calling to you, then take that as confirmation, and if it doesn't, then don't take it. You know, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Yeah, and then once again, I'm gonna ask you to subscribe and like the video. Leave a comment down below as well if you enjoyed this reading. I love talking to you guys. Yeah. I will see you in the next message, and goodbye for now.